Okay, so in step one, just as a quick review, step one, we've set up our files and folders. Step two, we've created a job-specific Lightroom catalog and imported our photos while rendering a standard preview, copying our files to a job-specific original subfolder, and renamed our files. In step three, we elected which images to show and which images to hide from our clients. Um, and in step four, we're really just going to go through really quickly and talk about the different features of Lightroom. So if you don't know anything about Lightroom, this is kind of a best of the best, a real quick showing of the different tools of Lightroom. We could do a 2-hour video on this, and feel free to take part in one of our full day or half day workshops. If you really want to learn Lightroom, we're going to go through some of the hidden tricks, color correcting and manipulating our files using Lightroom. So if you have been using Lightroom before, one of the things we hear from people, particularly in Lightroom 2, was that when you go from photo to photo, it's slow. But you'll notice in the video that I'm going from image to image without any noticeable lag. This is because I've rendered a standard preview and I'm working in the library module of Lightroom. When you switch to the develop module of Lightroom, um, it requires, Lightroom is written, and it generates a full-size one-to-one preview on the fly. So as you watch, you'll see at the bottom of the screen right here, it says loading. And I'm actually working on a really old 3 or 4-year-old Mac right now, so it actually is kind of slow. But I'm working with JPEGs. If these were RAWs, it would take longer. So if you're looking to speed up your workflow and you're not doing a ton of image manipulations, you should definitely consider working in the library module. It's going to save you the 2.5 seconds that these images take to snap into focus in the develop module. When you open Lightroom for the first time, a lot of the tools in the library module are hidden. And so a lot of photographers don't even know that you can do image manipulation in the library module. So um, in the Quick Develop module, in the Quick Develop tab here, there are a handful of controls that you see in the Develop module, things like temperature and tint, tone control, exposure, recovery, fill light, blacks, brightness, contrast, clarity, and vibrancy. And each will allow you to go up and down by either a third or a full stop. Um, in Develop, of course, you have so much more control. But in the library, you have kind of just these push button incremental adjustments. You can, of course, also activate your favorite presets here, but you don't get any preview, so you don't know what they look like. Um, so again, if your Lightroom's running slow or if you're in a rush, consider using the library module for your color correcting. We, however, do try to use the develop module. It's just that much more powerful. Um, so we're going to go over to the develop module and we're going to just do a little bit of work here showing you some different tricks. So we said at the onset that Lightroom is a left to right, top to bottom program. Um, an example is we start in the library module for importing, we go to the develop module, one step to the right for color correcting, and then when we're ready to show the images, we go to slideshow, print, and web. You're working from left to right. Well, the develop tools, it's the same thing. Starting at the top, you can work in the histogram using your mouse and you can actually drag the histogram left or right to color to manipulate the exposure of your image. Um, if you watch down here, watch these boxes here, okay, as I move my mouse around the histogram. So the far left of the histogram is the part of the histogram that controls the blacks section of an image, okay? And I can drag my mouse left or right to adjust my blacks. If I move my mouse in the histogram a little bit to the right, I get into the fill light section of the image where I can kind of almost look like the image is just a little bit lighter, okay? Moving again one section to the right, I get to my exposure, and this is the largest section of the histogram, where I can change the exposure of the overall image. If I go one step further to the right, I get recovery, which is a pretty narrow section. Okay, so you can control the look and the feel of your image by working in the histogram, by just grabbing a certain section of the histogram. And you can see the digits or the incremental change that you're making down here. You, of course, can grab the sliders and make your changes as needed. Okay, below the histogram you've got a crop tool, which is right here. For you, if you're new to Lightroom, definitely a little awkward because it requires you to move the image and not the actual crop mask. But keep in mind that Lightroom is non-destructive, so 6 months later you can come back and you can see what the file, how you cropped it and what it looked like. In the crop menu is the ability to constrain the proportions. So the files come out of my camera as a 2x3 or 4x6 shape, but if you wanted to make, I don't know, 1x1 crops, you could select the 1x1 crop and it will do a center weighted crop originally and allow you to move forward. If we go to the next image here, we're going to go to crop and we're going to turn off our lock and allowing us to crop however we want. In our studio, to be quite honest, we crop as a 2x3 for almost every single photo that's going to go on our website. So we lock the proportions and we just crop however we see appropriate. There's also a horizon tool here in the crop submenu. And again, here's crop, and if you'll notice, I just click and it opens up the crop menu. You can click on the angle tool, and if you've got an ocean or something that's out of whack, you just click, oh, excuse me, click the angle tool. Great demo when you misspeak. Grab the angle tool, and we can drag our horizon tool, and it's going to snap the image to the nearest vertical or horizontal. And so it does an auto rotate. So play with the crop tool. There's a lot there to be learned. We don't use in our studio the clone and heal brush here. I actually find that when I need to clone or heal an image, I'm just going to take the image into Photoshop. Photoshop's just much more powerful. It's definitely a better use of my time. Moving to the right, there's the red eye tool. If God forbid if I have an image with a red eye, I'm just pretty much going to delete it. This isn't really much of an issue in our studio, but if it is for you, consider getting your lens and your flash a little further away from each other. If you didn't know, basically red eye is happening when the focal angle, oh God, I'm going to trip over my words, when the flash and the lens are too close. Let's just leave it at that. And in Lightroom 3 and 2.2 and Lightroom 3, the new tools here, the gradient tools, allowing you to make adjustments on a gradient to an image. Just play with these. I'm not going to go into these in this video. As we go down kind of the controls, we start with your basic adjustments, your temperature and your tint, which you can control here with the eyedropper, selecting something that's truly white or truly gray, which there doesn't seem to be anything here in this picture. You've got your exposure, recovery, fill light, and blacks. A lot of times a great way to start is to hit the auto button just to see what it gets you. And then again going down. There are many, many folks that like to work with a tone curve. I'm not one of them, although it is an absolutely wonderful tool. Grabbing the tone curve and adjusting an image's exposure and darkness to your liking. It's not a skill that I have refined. As we go down, there's definitely a tool that we find to be unbelievably powerful, and it's called the TAT tool. You'll see TAT stands for Target Adjustment Tool. You'll see one here in the tone curve area, and you'll see a couple others as you scroll down in Lightroom on the right-hand side. So I'm going to click the Saturation TAT tool, Saturation, and I'm going to click right here for TAT. And if you watch this, I'm going to desaturate the purple of my daughter's pants by clicking and dragging down. And now, what was a purple set of pants is now black and white. I can do the same thing to the pink in her sweater, or let's see here, the blue. The TAT tool is something that you may have seen. Nik Software has something very similar to it. You can do local adjustments to an image using this Target Adjustment tool. Now in studio photos like you're seeing here, we don't find it to be terribly helpful, but when you're out doing landscapes or you're out doing outdoor portraits, the TAT tool is just unbelievable. We use it a lot for color correcting skin if you've got somebody who's had a little too much to drink. You can click at a wedding, you can just click the rosiness of their cheeks, and you can bring the color of those cheeks down or up. And again, same with saturation. And we'll bring Ella's skin cheeks down. Now she looks a little pale, but the tat tool is amazing. There's also a black and white tat tool. So if you're working with images with a lot of color and you want to convert them to black and white, but you want to do it intelligently, click the black and white button, then the tat tool, and now make your adjustments. So now I'm working in just the pinks and the reds of Ella's face, but I'm adding a little color. It's unbelievably powerful, the tat tool. We're not going to go into any further detail. You've got noise reduction and sharpening down here. What you need to know about our workflow is this. If it takes more than 10 seconds to color correct or manipulate an image, it's probably not worth saving unless it's of some super important event at a job. We find that our customers don't necessarily want us to make every single photo perfect before they see them. Chris and I, as a rule, which of course gets broken, we use Lightroom for proofing our photos, and when we have a photograph that's been purchased, that's when we use Photoshop. So my apologies for not having a whole lot more substance in this video, but it's not part of our workflow. We really spend most of our time right up here in the basic section of the develop adjustments. That's pretty much it, folks. Take care.